Here's the story. My grandma used to tell me scary stories when I was little. I was 10 years old when Grandma came to live with us. It was about 6 months after Granddad passed away. Looking back, I suppose she must have been lonely in that big old house of theirs, rattling around with only grief and memories for company. So despite a few murmurs of protest from Mom, my parents took her in. There were no protests from me. None at all. Grandma was loud, fun, and full of life. She had an almost limitless supply of boiled sweets and would always slip me a couple whenever she saw me. She was the first to stick up for me when I got in trouble, too. But it was her stories I loved best. Grandma had all kinds of stories, tales of growing up during World War II, adventures on the South Coast with friends after her family had been evacuated, and memories both sad and joyful. But my favorites were always the scary ones. Grandma had plenty of those. She told me she dabbled in the occult as a teenager. Ouija boards with friends, tarot cards, fortune-telling. Most of her spooky tales I would laugh off, forget about not long after she told them. But there was one, just one, that I never forgot. One that stuck with me. The story about the shower. And Mr. Long Fingers. It began one night after I asked her why she loved baths so much. Grandma adored her baths. She would spend hours in them, lighting candles and incense, humming softly to herself until the water turned cold. It drove Mum crazy. But when I asked her why she loved them so much, her face turned serious. You know, people like me, who are, well, more sensitive to certain things, we have to have baths, she whispered, shuffling closer on my bed. I couldn't possibly spend that long in a shower. It'd be far too risky. I felt a twinge of excitement, the familiar flutter in my stomach that meant she was about to tell me one of her stories. I pulled the covers up to my chin. Why is it risky, Grandma? Her gaze shifted to the window, her expression shadowed. It's only risky if you close your eyes, she murmured. If you close your eyes for longer than 10 seconds. A chill crept down my spine. What do you mean? Why? She leaned closer, her voice dropping to a whisper. Do you ever play that game in the playground? The one where someone turns their back, and the others sneak up on them when they're not looking? I nodded, and Grandma nodded back. Exactly. That's what it's like in the shower when you have your eyes closed. That's what it's like with Mr. Long Fingers. I swallowed hard, my palms suddenly sweaty. Who's Mr. Long Fingers? Her eyes glimmered in the dim light. No one knows exactly, she whispered. Some think it's a creature attracted to the heat and smell we give off in there. Others think it's a demon that slips into our world through the steam. No one can say for sure, because the only ones who've actually seen Mr. Long Fingers aren't around to tell you about it. My breath hitched. Why not? Grandma's eyes bore into mine. Don't you worry about that, sweetheart. Just remember the rules. What rules? Her hand tightened around mine. When you're in the shower, try not to close your eyes for too long. 5 seconds is fine. 10 is just about okay, too. But any longer than that. Yeah. What happens? Her voice dropped to a whisper. That's when you might feel it. Like something's in the room with you. Watching. And if you ever go longer than 15 seconds, that's when you might start to hear a noise. What noise? Her eyes locked with mine, unblinking. The soft tap-tap-tap of fingers on the glass. Fingers drumming against the shower door. If you ever hear that noise, promise me you'll never open your eyes. I nodded, my heart thudding in my chest. I barely slept that night. And when I did finally drift off, I dreamed of long, thin fingers tapping against glass. And when I showered the next morning, I kept my eyes wide open. Just in case. I was the one who found her. When the paramedics finally left, and the house fell into a tense silence, whispers filled the spaces where sobs had been. Mom and Dad talked in hushed tones behind closed doors, their voices heavy and strained. I heard snippets: heart attack, the shower, not right. At the funeral, I heard more. Mom's sister mentioned Grandma's obsession with baths. Said she'd always been like that, even as a young woman. Wouldn't step foot in a shower, she whispered. Not once. That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept seeing the marks on the steamed glass, the ones the police said were hers. But they hadn't looked right. Too long. Too thin. I crept out of bed, heart pounding, and found myself in front of the bathroom door. I didn't remember opening it, but suddenly I was inside, the air still heavy with moisture. There, etched faintly in the fogged glass of the shower door, were marks. Not smudges. Not streaks. Fingers. And they weren't only on the inside. I'm 42 now, with kids of my own. My wife humors me, but I see the look in her eyes every time she's forced to draw a bath instead of taking a shower. My children think it's a game, a strange quirk of their dad. I let them believe it. It's easier that way. But I know. And sometimes, when the house is silent and I'm alone in the bathroom, I catch myself staring at the foggy mirror. I can't help it. I always check. Just in case. I've gotten used to the sound of water splashing in a tub, the comfort of candles flickering along the tile. But every once in a while, when I'm rinsing off, I swear I can hear it again. Tap, tap, tap. And even though I'm 42 years old, I still don't dare open my eyes. Not anymore. Not after what I saw. Not after Grandma. Not after Mr. Long Fingers.